Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. You join me on a cold, windy, rainy night. I've got my hot chocolate. Let's talk some Warhammer. It's been a while since I did a video with regards to Crusade. And it's something I want to get back into. The Crusade videos, not Crusade. Crusade I'm actually doing a fair bit of recently. But Crusade has a problem. Well, it has two problems. One of them is what we're going to focus on today. One is just getting people to play it. People are very resistant to the idea of playing narrative missions, and that's something I put on Games Workshop and the tournament scene, basically requiring everything to be perfectly balanced in its match play format. You know, we need to get away from that. But talking about narrative missions is perhaps a video for another day. Today I want to talk about the other, and I think arguably biggest problem with Crusade and how I would fix it. Now, before we get into this, I know that my view on this is probably going to be very different to yours. Some people might even go, well, what's the point of playing it if you make these changes? But bear with me. So, my problem with Crusade is very simply, there's too much admin. There's too much bookkeeping. There's too much note-taking and recording points and stuff like this. Let me explain. So, at its default, Crusade requires you to keep track of requisition points, which are used to improve or upgrade your units. It requires you to keep track of Crusade points, because if your roster that you bring to the table has so many more Crusade points than your opponent's army that they bring to the table, they get special bonuses. Crusade blessings. Once you get past that and you're actually playing, you've got to keep track of every single unit's experience points. You've got to keep track of every single unit's kill point tally, because every so many points gives you an extra XP. You've got to keep track of battle honours and battle scars. And believe you me, after a while, you start to get confused. I had a Crusade game towards the end of 9th. At this point, my basic troop units, all I'd bothered to put on them was a Feel No Pain. And because they didn't normally have it, my intercessors, I completely forgot to use it in like 3 games. Because it isn't how that unit normally plays. And I hadn't even thought about it. I always end up putting upgrades and stuff on characters. And I always spend requisition points to get rid of battle scars because I don't want them. So what would I do? It's very daunting, I think, for a lot of players to look at this, and they don't want to do it. They just want to play a game of 40k. So, and because I think narrative missions are far better than match play missions, this is what I would do with Crusade. And as I say early on, it's not going to be to everybody's tastes. People are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. This is just like a discussion topic rather than me saying this is what you must do. But it wouldn't hurt for Games Workshop and people out there to try this idea. Okay, so first things first. We do away with experience points, battle honours, and battle scars. There you go. Very simples. I would bring back a basic FOC for every army. At least when you start off anyway. Let me explain. So if you weren't around for the old force organisation chart, what it used to do in what we would now call match play was you had to have a character. You had to have 2 or 3 troop choices, what we would now call battle line. You would have an elite option, which I would probably say now is a non-battle line infantry. You had to have a fast attack, which would be something now, I guess, would be mounted or fly, but not a vehicle. I would say you would, and you would need a heavy support, which is generally vehicles or heavy weapon teams. And after that, you could add to it. I would say every Crusade fort you build must start with that, because it basically lets both players, let's assume you're starting a fresh game, a fresh camp Crusade, it lets both players start off with an even keel. Then they expand to what they want to do. But the important bit would be changing how things work. Requisition, I think, would largely be the same, with two exceptions. One, I would double the number of points that it takes to add points to your army total, to your roster total. Why? Because we're getting rid of battle scars and battle honors. So you haven't got to worry about that. Make it a slow grow, make it a slow burn, build your army over time, play lots of games. I would also change the requisition that basically says that you have to pay up front with your first ever character if you want to give them or any other characters a enhancement. I would just say, until you've paid this for your characters, you cannot take enhancements. And it would be 1 point for the first character you want to give it to, and 2 for the next one, and then cap at 4. But you could choose to do it when you wanted to. You didn't have to forcibly take a character with an enhancement straight off the bat. And we do away with the XP and the kill totals and things like that. And as I say, we remove a huge chunk of that to just make it a case of you are using this as a format to play really cool, much more flavorful missions than the Pariah Nexus or Leviathan decks give us. And it lets you slowly add your collection to your roster. So for those of us who have got a sizable army, that's what we can do. It's all fun. For people who are starting and getting into the hobby, this is great. They get those starting units. They paint them up. They've got them. And then when they want to buy something else, they increase their point total and they add that unit to the roster. I think it would make the game, a Crusade as a game, a lot more accessible. It would be less of a headache. Because at the minute you are pretty much having to spend, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe even 15 minutes, I've had times before with opponents, doing your end of game stuff. As I say, it's not going to be a popular choice. There are a lot of people out there who like Crusade because of that bookkeeping. It's something that I have seen in older war games, mainly the sort of like World War II tile-based ones. We have the big hex maps and the little chits to represent units and so forth, because those sort of games wanted you to keep track of supply lines and to keep track of communications and rations and ammunition and overly complex, unnecessary stuff, but very immersive for those that want it. If that's not what you want out of Crusade, and to be honest, that's not what I want out of Crusade. I think this works much better. Now, obviously, you would have to tweak a few other things, but this is just what's been going through my mind for a little while. So, as I say, it would need a bit more thought, but I think you could do it and just really rein in the admin side of it and make it more about playing fun, flavorful missions. But what are your thoughts? Would doing something like that make you want to play Crusade, or maybe not make you want to play? Would it make you more open to trying Crusade over the current method, the current format? Would you turn you off if you are a current Crusade player? And do you find, if you don't play Crusade, that the admin is something that does actually turn you off of playing, or is it something else? I want to know your thoughts. That's my thoughts. I love Crusade. I love it as a format. I love the missions more than anything. But it's something that I would really like to see more people doing. And it's just that my experience has been the admin side of it, I think, is what turns off most people. Anyway, let me know your comments down below, and we'll see a bit of a discussion. In the meantime, thank you for watching the vid. Please hit me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and join the channel. And let's see what 2025 brings us in future videos, specifically Crusade and other casual matters. Until then, take care, everybody. Good gaming.